Alright, welcome to this first tutorial on Adobe Premiere. We will be focusing on importing our camera footage and setting up our Premiere projects. Should be pretty simple, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to talk about is how to bring in our footage. We've got different cameras, different cards, all different types of media out there, but luckily Premiere can handle the vast majority of them. So what we're going to do is connect our media up to our computer so we can copy it over. As soon as you connect your media, you'll see a drive appear. In my case here, it is called Untitled. I could double click on it and I could see the root of it with all of the subfolders, the clips, the metadata. We need all of this copied over to our computer. This is so we can make sure we keep our footage safe. If we need to go out and shoot on the card some more or format the card or whatever the reason might be, we want to have that footage safe and on our computer so we can use it. Importing our footage is very simple. We've set up a nice import media program, and it'll open up a Mac dialog box. You're going to navigate to see your card, and you're going to click on the root and go ahead and hit choose. You'll do this for every card. If you shot 3 cards, 4 cards, you'll just, after one's done copying, you'll put the next card in and just continue on. You can see up here at the top of our Mac, we've got a little sprocket spinning letting us know how much is importing. And our footage is importing directly to this raw media folder. Double click that, you can see the Automator will create a new folder with today's date, and it will go ahead and start copying in the footage. We'll go ahead and take a moment and I'll let all of this footage continue copying over, and then we'll continue on. Alright, all of our footage is copied over. I'm going to go ahead and close that dialog box. And now we can dive in and start creating our project. So go ahead and click on Adobe Premiere. Alright, we've now opened it up. We'll go over a detailed tutorial on how to use Adobe Premiere later on. So this one I'm just going to skim the surface a little bit and talk about the stuff that's most important to importing our video and getting our project set up. So here I have the open splash screen. I can select an old project that I might have, or I can create a new one. In this case I want to create a new project. I'm going to title it Today's Date. And this is my police story VO. You'll want to just double check and make sure your location is set to where you want your saved projects to go. This can be anywhere, your external drive, the desktop, wherever it is that you can remember. For my sake, I've just created a desktop folder. It's called Project Files. I think this is the easiest. It'll have all of my save files, so if I need to go back to an old project, I can do that. I know where everything is. I'm going to go ahead and select my project files, hit go. The next thing I want to just double check is our scratch disks, and just make sure everything's set to same as project. This is where all of our renders will go, any captured video that we might have outside of a card, various other things. For the most part, it always defaults to same as project, but you may just want to double check every time you create your project. I've got that all set up, so I'm going to hit OK. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll go over a detailed review of Adobe Premiere and its different windows and functionality on a later video. Right now we're going to focus again on bringing in our clips. So I'm going to navigate here to my media browser. You see it up here. If I don't see it, I can click on Windows and click on Media Browser. And this brings up kind of a file tree of all the different clips that I can have or different locations that my media can be at. I've got my favorites here. It's set up to show me where different locations are that I might want to go over and over again. To set up a new favorite, it's simple. We could just navigate our Microsoft HD, go to our library, go to our users, click on my name, go to my desktop. I can see my raw media. I can right click on that and say add to favorites. I could do my finished videos and add to favorites, and then it'll just always populate up here for easy access. If I click on raw media, I can see the different folders. So I'm going to navigate to today's date and double click, and boom, there is all my media. I could start looking at it. I could double click on my media and start scrubbing it, looking through it, doing my logging and capturing or whatever I need to do to prepare my media for my project. Once I look and select and say, okay, this is all that I want, I'm just going to highlight them all using my Shift and Select. I could hit Command and select a couple of them. I could just select one at a time. I could do a Command A and select them all. And I'm going to right click after I've selected the ones I want and hit Import. What this is going to do is shift all of these clips from my media browser over here into my project. And in my project, this is where all of my media will be located, all of my sequences, all of my audio clips, graphics, everything. So I want to make sure to keep this nice and organized. Got different views that I can use here. Here I can expand out this. I can see the name of each of my clip, the frame rate, the media start. And scrub over and see all of the different information that I care about or I don't care about, whatever you choose. If I double click on a clip, it'll load into the source monitor here. Let's expand this back down so I can see it. And again, I can look at my clips. I'm going to expand this toolbar down a little bit just to make it a little easier to work with. Double click and again start looking at all my footage. Another nice thing about this project window, you can create folders and put clips within folders so you don't just have hundreds of clips here. I can right click, I can do a new bin, and it's kind of like a folder here, and I can call this my police footage. And once I have the folder created, I can highlight all of my clips again and drag them into my police footage. And now I've got a collapsible window so I can see or not see the clips I want. I can create another bin for maybe my sequences or timelines. I might be able to create a new bin for graphics. And maybe a bin for my voiceovers. Next thing we want to talk about in the project window is the different views that we have. So right now it's set up down here in the bottom. You see it's set up for list view. This is so we can see everything in just a nice cohesive list. Some people like to work in an icon view. It gives them a little bit more. They can see the thumbnails. So we can decide that we've got our footage here. We can double click on it. We can see it opening up in our bin here. What's kind of nice is we can hover over the clip from the beginning to the end and it kind of scrubs through for us. So this kind of hover scrub functionality. We can kind of real quickly look through our footage and see what's going on. We could also click on their footage and hit spacebar and just kind of play it in here. If we really wanted to, we could push the I button to create an in point and a O button to create an out point, and then our clip will only have that little segment there. A couple of nice little things. We can hit this little up arrow and come back to our bin and our different bins and folders. I like to use list view. It's just my personal favorite. I enjoy seeing everything in this view. It's just easier for me. You can use whatever you would like. The last thing we need to bring in, I created this folder called graphics. I'm going to go ahead and delete it because we have a pre-built folder of graphics that we can go ahead and bring in. Okay, so I'm going to right click on my empty project window and come down here to import. And from here, with this dialog box, I'm going to navigate back to my desktop and click on my graphics folder. I'm going to go ahead and import that. And it is going to import all of my pre-built graphics. So I can drag that down. You can see I've got my courtesy logos. I can double click on that, see my courtesies. my YouTube. I've got some other bigger logos that I might need to use. And I've got my phonographics that I can build, and my background videos. Everything else that I'm going to ever need will be here in this graphics folder. So with everything ready to go here and imported in, the last thing I need to do is just create my sequence, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to right click again and go New Item and click Sequence. And in this case, I'm going to be brought up here, and I'm going to see I've got my custom. I'm going to click on my KIFI KIDK setting. Okay. And now I've got my timeline. The reason I have that set up is because this is set up to mimic the easiest way for Premiere to edit and to export our video. If I were to grab one of my clips, or to delete my sequence, and grab just one of my clips and drop it down, it's going to build a sequence based off of this clip. It's going to put the sequence there, and it's going to be the settings of this clip. And that's not necessarily what I want. This clip could be the wrong resolution, it could be an iPhone video, and then Premiere is going to be editing the wrong information. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, delete my sequence, we just want to make sure that we always right-click, hit Import New Item, Sequence, click on our settings. We can even name our timeline down here. If we want, we can call this my Police VO timeline. And there it is, my Police VO. I could take that now and drag it into my timelines bin. If I had multiple, if I had a VO and a package, or a SOTVO, I just keep them all set straight right here. That's how to import your clips and set up our project. The last thing I do want to show you just real quick, this is kind of not the preferred method, but if you're under a really tight deadline, you've shot your video and you don't have time to copy over your clips, and you've only used one card worth of media, there's one neat little trick that we can do in the media browser. We click on our media browser, and instead of going to our raw media, I can actually navigate directly to the card itself that's connected to my computer. I can double click on the root, and it will pull up my clips directly off of the card. I can double click them and play them just as I would my imported media. I can highlight them, right click and hit import, and we'll bring those clips into my project. One thing to keep in mind though is if my card gets ejected or disconnected from my computer, it's going to tell me up here, if I double click on this media, it's now going to go media pending and media offline. It's because my media has not been put onto the computer. It was just reading it directly off of the card. So this is a quick and easy, dirty way to get your media in and start editing. But remember, you cannot disconnect your card from your computer when editing this way. So the preferred method is to use the import media program down here and to bring our clips in.